Oh my goodness, we are live again. I'm Christine Bell. I've been gone, I think, for a month and a half doing Snappy Chats. I must admit, I took some time off. I went to Denmark, enjoyed seeing my family and friends over there, and came back. And I'm like, I need some time. I just need some time to get back into work, right? I don't know if anyone can relate to that. But here we are, and I'm so excited. Sarah, you are my first guest back to Snappy Chat. I'm so glad we finally made it happen. And I can't wait to talk to you about all the things that you're up to and what you enjoy, etc. I'm just turning on comments in case anyone shows up. If you don't show up live, which we'd love you to do, please show up in the replay, and we look forward to seeing you there. So, Sarah, we're not going to talk too much about me because people can reach out to me if they want to. I'm a customer strategist, but this is all about learning and growing together in business because we all have challenges. And it's amazing how often we have the similar challenges in building a startup, a business, etc. And so we might as well learn and grow from each other. And we got Royce here. Hey, Royce, love to see you. And Sarah, he's very excited to see you as well. I'm looking in the comments. You can look at them on the side. Sarah, please tell us about you.
Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for having me. Your first time back in a while. I'm so excited to be here. I've been wanting to come on the show for a while because you're amazing. So I'm happy to be here. I think the biggest thing about me is that, which we talked about a little bit before we had this call, is how I was in one industry for a really long time. I had a career in consumer products, doing sales and licensing, but always had a passion for space and thought, well, guess I'll never get there. And was lucky enough to speak up and say how bummed I was that I was not in the space sector, and had a friend that I've known for a very long time mentor me and help me completely change careers. And I'm in my mid-50s. I'm just going to say it. And so I feel like I feel very lucky I could do this at my age. And I'm so excited, and I'm where I'm supposed to be. I just know it. So that's the great part about it.
And isn't that amazing? Because we don't have to put an age on it. Sometimes it takes a little while to mature and work out, to have the guts and the confidence and the courage to go, you know what? I have a dream. I always had a dream. Why not go for it in this lifetime, right?
Yep,
I just want to say, Randy House, thank you for being here. I haven't seen you for a long time. He's amazing. And Michael as well. Great to see you as well. Great to have you here. So yes, I totally resonate with you because, dreams are made to, we are here to dream big, and we're here to have impact. And we can sit back and go, oh, well, I'm probably it's never going to happen. I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm just going to stay in my job because, it's convenient. I make the money. It looks good. Everyone is happy, But there's something missing sometimes, isn't there? There's that little light inside of us that goes, you know what? I'm meant for something bigger.
Definitely. And I'm glad that you mentioned making an impact, because I felt like I wasn't really making one. I was mentoring people, and that felt good. And I was learning a lot of things, and I was lucky enough to be able to travel all over the globe and doing what I did. But again, it wasn't fulfilling. I didn't have that spark. I was good at what I did, and I liked what I did, but I always felt like that was not the career I wanted. And so it was really exciting to change careers and to something where I knew I could make an impact, and know I see the long-term vision where I can even make a greater impact when this company is successful. So that's what gets me out of bed every day.
And isn't that exciting? Yeah. And I think April is here too. I can see you, Randy, saying hello to April. So good to see you, April. That's the thing, like, we can just go, well, everything is fine, everything is good, or we can go, hold on, there's something missing. I'm not quite fulfilled. I'm missing something, that spark. I'm missing something. But it takes guts, yeah. It takes confidence to go.
Yeah, it's scary. It's scary to make that change, especially a big change. And, I was recently on my own. And so, I guess the good part about that is I don't have to worry about anybody else. The bad part about that is I don't have anybody to lean on either. Like, this is all me. But yeah, I mean, I think one of the key things is I ask for a lot of help, not only, just help with my network to break into a new sector, the space sector, but also, help from friends and family with emotional support, definitely family with financial support. And yeah, I mean, so many people are scared to ask for help, and they feel strange about that. I think that's a big thing, is you can't be afraid to ask for help, because think about how flattered you feel when somebody comes to you for help, and even better, how you feel when you actually help them. So
making an impact. Exactly.
Right.
We all like to make impact. So let other people help you so they can make an impact too. And I so hear you, because I've always been, having had a low self-esteem, my survival thing was always help others as much as possible, do for others, but I couldn't receive it back. Yeah. But you gotta let people give to you as well, and you gotta open up to receiving, and that in itself is a huge internal learning. For me, it has definitely been an internal learning, and you gotta be willing to ask for help, like you said.
But it's amazing how it snowballs. I mean, you ask for help, and then you offer, how can I help you in exchange? And then they refer you to someone, and then you might help somebody else. And then this person that you never expected to meet comes out of nowhere and is like, pushes your company or your career path the next step forward. So it's just so exciting to see like what's around the corner, and have the courage to just keep trying. And I don't know, I love it. I feel like, I was telling a friend of mine, I've never been so stressed and so broke and loved my job so much at the same time.
I felt so fulfilled and free, right?
Yes. It doesn't feel like work right now, which I know is such a cliche, but it doesn't feel like work because I love what I'm doing.
Yeah, Randy makes a good point. He says, don't say was, you are, which is true. We are wonderful, we are amazing, and we're creating this world. And we've got Batmos here as well. Thank you for showing up. So yes, but how do we do it? Because once we're in a job and we're comfortable and we like it and we're making the money and everyone around us are happy, status quo, it's comfortable. May not be inspiring, it may not be giving us joy, it may not allow us impact, but how do we do it? How do we take that courageous step? What happened with you in terms of going, all right, I'm going to do it? How did you do it?
Well, it was kind of serendipitous the way everything came together. One was I commented on a friend that I've known for, I always tease him, since the 1900s. We met in the 1980s, late 1980s, and I commented on one of his LinkedIn posts. Even though we'd hung out and been friends together forever, I just one day was going through LinkedIn and I said, I'm living vicariously through your space posts. And he's like, what are you doing this weekend? Let's chat. So we were on the phone for like 3 hours. And I was like, I want to get into the space sector. I don't know how or what I'm going to do. I'll start at the beginning. I don't care. Let me try. And so he was kind enough to say, look through all my contacts and I'll introduce you to anybody. These are some conferences you should go to. And at the same time, I had left the consumer product sector and had hired a life coach. And when I was looking for jobs, I was looking for certain kinds of jobs in certain kinds of industries. And every week we would work on, or every other week, we would work on what my skills were, what my desires were, like write your dream job. Just pretend you can get any job you want. What hours are they? Where are you working? All that stuff. And she made me realize that I was selling myself short, that I had a lot more skills I needed to give myself credit for. And that was, confidence building was something that I had to take a personal journey on. I had, for various reasons, I don't want to name call, but for various reasons, I was not in a good place confidence-wise. So her helping me get back my confidence, what kind of skill set I had and what kind of jobs I should be looking at, combined with talking to my very good friend who's known me for 40 years, just kind of pointed me in the right direction. And I asked him for help, and then just was bold and said, look, if you want me to help in this, he came to me actually after I had started networking like crazy and said, I need help with this one company. And I said, I will do it, but I want to be CEO. And he had confidence in me and said, yes. So here I am. It was just the right place at the right time. And sometimes when I kick myself saying, why did it take me so long? I think back to something my coach said, saying there's a reason. Things happen for you, not to you. So there's a reason why you are now CEO and you weren't 10 years ago. So it's easier to live with that and excited to help. It makes me excited to move forward and keep building my skills.
I love that. And there's definitely a learning around, we go, why hasn't it happened? Everything happens when it's meant to. And sometimes what we think is the ideal outcome, the universe might have a better outcome in place. But I also think you took action, right? You had a big dream, you wanted to have impact, and you actually took action. You reached out to people. You didn't go, oh, let it just come to me. If I just sit still, it's going to happen, right? So you actually took action. You spoke to people. you asked for help, you were willing to also learn about yourself and get the coaching you needed, which I've also had. And it is important for some of us, not for all of us, to have that in terms of having the courage and the confidence, being curious and having compassion for ourselves in this process of exactly right. I just want to say hello to Usman as well. Thank you for being here. Randy House says, I say back when Moby Dick was a minnow? Minnow? I can't pronounce that. What does that mean?
Back when Moby Dick was just a tiny fish.
We're all tiny fish at some point, aren't we? And we just got to go big and make sure that the world sees us. But that takes confidence and courage. So I appreciate you that, but also just take action, right?
Yeah. And that's, I mean, everyone's different. I think it would have been harder to take action if I didn't have this kind of mentorship from my friend I've known for so long, and also my coach that I hired at the right time. But at the same time, I mean, you can't just, like you said, you can't just say like, well, I wish this would happen for me and then wait for it to happen. You got to do something.
Yeah. And don't sell yourself short, right?
Right.
So exactly. You had the guts to say, I want to be the CEO.
And here I am. Still have a little bit of imposter syndrome, but mostly I'm over that.
Wonderful. I love that. And so what are you doing in the space world, and how can we help you? How can people who are perhaps listening in now or later help us or help you?
Well, our company, it kind of fills a unique niche, especially in the US in recent times. We try to raise funds for space missions focused on exploration, science, and education. So we're not VCs. We don't raise money for companies. We raise funds for missions and for space missions. And those are usually organized by universities or nonprofits or small civil space agencies like other countries that don't have a NASA budget. And so usually these missions are organized. They can get some government or grant funding, but not enough for the whole cost of the mission. So we try to fill that gap. And especially in the United States, a lot of science funding has been cut. And those are most of the researchers that we're working with now. So how can we help them save their jobs? How can we help them save all the work they've already put into missions that they have scheduled for the next 5 to 10 years? And so that's what we do. And we kind of are the matchmaker between the missions themselves and 3 verticals of funding that we're targeting, which are philanthropic donors or family offices or foundations, so wealthy people, basically. The second is by helping mission organizers negotiate brand sponsorships. So those marketing activation dollars can go towards the cost of the mission. And the third is through licensing agreements with media partners. So if there's, for example, a documentarian that wants to feature one of our missions in their documentary, they can sign a licensing agreement and those royalties can help go towards the cost of the mission. So Wonderful. We do that and we realize we're filling in a white space that no other company is doing, at least as far as we know. There are companies out there doing pieces of what we're doing, but nobody's kind of packaging it the way we're doing. And since it's such a new concept, we also offer consulting services. So especially now for brand sponsors, if they're like, how do I even get involved? How do I sponsor a mission? What does that mean? Should I build a strategy around that? We offer consulting around that. And same for foundations or wealthy people if they want to figure out how to match philanthropic giving in the space sector with their portfolio. We can help with that too.
I love that. And it sounds to me that you're actually not creating your own mission. So you're not a rocket
Correct.
Building your own rockets or anything. You're actually helping people who have the talents, the engineers and that understanding and desire to build rockets. You're actually helping them and their missions, whatever that looks like, to get money in, right? And to
Correct.
get seen
Exactly.
and heard.
We're the go-between. We're the matchmaker. Yes.
I love that, because that is such an important space to be in if you want to not just have a few billionaires go to space for whatever reason, which seems to sometimes be more about tourism, perhaps a leisure. Perhaps, I'm not saying there aren't other reasons, but I want to see those people who have a passion for it, who have the ingenuity, who has the engineering skills, who wants to be, do something in this space to have impact in the world in terms of what can we learn from space, how can we learn from it, and what can we do, right?
That's exactly our MO. That's exactly why we're focused specifically on exploration, science, and education missions, because those are the ones that are put together by nonprofits and other universities, people that don't typically have a bunch of money that they can just, reach into their pocket for. So we really want to make that impact and eventually grow so big that we can actually sponsor our missions on ourselves and instead of having to find funders for each of them.
I love that. How exciting, and not easy, hey? Because when we're in a white space, there's no one to look to learn from.
Exactly. So market education is a huge piece of our MO right now. We spent the first year vetting all the missions. We got a ton of outpouring of inquiries from mission organizers. So exciting. So our team, which mostly has a space background, engineers, everybody else, fundraisers in the space sector, all vetted all these missions. Now that we have like a nice little portfolio of different ranges of launch dates, different ranges of monetary asks, different teams, different things they're studying. Now we pivoted at the end of last year to really focus on what sources of funding that we could build out.
Yes. Excellent. And how exciting. And what's the challenge in doing that then?
Well, for me personally, I'm used to working with media companies. I'm used to working with brands back from my consumer products days. So reaching out to them and being able to story tell to them and show them the connections is a little easier. Although I have to say every company has a different person that's responsible for looking at sponsoring a space mission, for example. So it's been interesting to kind of track down the right person. But for me personally, I have zero experience fundraising, whether it's philanthropic or equity fundraising. So that's a skill I'm learning now as I'm reaching out to some of these potential philanthropic funders.
And see, I love that. It's both scary and also I find personally, because I've also had to learn new things in the last few years, becoming a teacher last year at the university. But there's something exciting about being, in our 50s and maybe also 40s and also learning new skills, right? And not always easy, but there is something, I don't know about you, but I find it quite fulfilling as well. That
Same.
challenge of learning something new. Yeah. Going, okay, I'm out of my comfort zone now, but that means I'm growing.
Exactly. I mean, my sense of curiosity is one of my defining characteristics that I've given myself. I've always been a curious person. I love learning new things, whether it's languages or science I love to read. I've loved to read my whole life. So that's what really stimulates me. So being able to learn a new thing, it's just a new skill I can add to my portfolio.
Yeah. And there's something very fulfilling in that, right? In terms of, you had a dream, you didn't know what you knew roughly what it was and where your heart was and what you're passionate about, but you didn't have the jobs, exact job, I guess, figured out what that looked like, right?
Right.
But it was going to come with new stuff, which is like, sometimes we have to embrace newness. And that is really scary in business. Whether you are stuck in a job you don't like and you really want to do your own thing, or whether you are building your own thing and you're like still grappling with all the newness.
I will say though, even in my consumer products industry, I have had jobs created for me. And a lot of times it was, look, these are what I'm good at. These are the skills I'm good at. These are the jobs that I see in your org chart, looking in from the outside, like as I was interviewing and noticing a white space that I could fill that I knew I would be good at. And so, a lot of people want to plug you into a sales job or a, licensing job or a customer service job. But if you have skills that cross all of those, maybe you take on more of a management role. Maybe you create a new position that's, like I was business development and licensing director at my last consumer products job, which they did not have any of those in their global team. So how do you don't be afraid to ask for what you think you're good at and ask for what you want.
And I think you're so right. And it's interesting. I actually caught up with a very good girlfriend of mine that I was best friends with between 16 and 24. And then she moved abroad. I moved abroad. And lo and behold, we didn't see each other for 28 years. And she lives in France. But I wrote to her and I say, hey, I'm in Denmark and I don't expect you to be there, but these are the dates I'm here. And she said, I'm home on the day, I'm there the day you arrive. So I literally got off the plane, had a shower at my parents' house, straight into Copenhagen, and I saw her after 28 years. And she was talking about, I'm not going to name names, but she was talking exactly about this. She's in a job. Yes, she's happy with parts of it, but it's not 100% fulfilling. And I'm like, well, let's get back to what you really enjoy and what you're amazing at. And why don't you start reaching out to all your contacts and start selling that to them and see what they say. All they can say is no, but sometimes companies don't know what they need. You have to make it, you have to tell them what they need. But you need to know your skills.
Yeah, that reminds me of a George Clooney quote. Somebody was asking him if he got nervous when he used to try out for, films or parts, basically. And he's like, why would I be nervous? And they're like, because like this can make or break you. And he's like, I don't have a job. If I go in and read for them and they don't pick me, I still don't have a job. Nothing's changed. No big deal. And I'm like, that kind of makes sense.
Sometimes you have to recall it when you have to keep swinging until until you actually win.
Exactly. By the way, Royce, love the Tang reference. Thank you for that.
I was just about, I don't understand. I was just about to mention that. What does that mean? Because I don't get it.
That was a big deal after the astronauts landed on the moon, that you couldn't have liquids in space, or it was hard to have certain foods in space. That's where like freeze-dried ice cream comes from and that kind of thing. And Tang was a big, like all the astronauts supposedly drank Tang, which is this orange powder that you mix with water to make an orange drink.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Actually, we did have that when I was a kid. I do know that, Royce, Tang. We had that as a kid. It was really orange and it was really kind of yummy, but there was a lot of bad stuff when I grew up.
There was a lot of supposedly it had all these vitamins in it too. I don't know.
Supposedly, right? With that color. Now, Randy makes a good point. He says, and Cooley too says, fundraising is challenging. What are the big challenges you found? I agree. What are the big challenges you find when it comes to fundraising?
It is tough. If I'm talking about fundraising for the missions, there's challenges depending on what vertical we're looking at. So on the brands, you got to work really early because they probably already locked down their 2026 budget, right? So you have to look at, how does this look 2 years down the road? Are there ways that I could start working with them now? For example, as a consultant, like let us do a 2-day workshop for you, and you can see how we are and try us out, and then gain your confidence in that we know what we're doing, and then work us into your marketing budget for 2026 or 2027. With philanthropic donors, that big challenge is twofold in the United States. One is, I don't know what the heck is going on with the economy. My portfolio is really high one day and I've lost a bunch of money the next day, so I'm not doing anything. That's one of the things I've heard. Another one is, call me back in the fourth quarter, because they'll have to give away, a lot of people will have to give away 5% of their earnings before the end of the tax year. So but all of it is relationship building. I mean, that's the number one thing. If people know you and trust you and you're not trying to do a hard sell every time you talk to them, they realize that you're dependable and trustworthy. And, you're not going to say like, hey, I talked to another billionaire the other day. His name was John Smith. Once they gain your trust and understand what you're doing, and a lot of people are really excited about the impact part of our job and about eventually being so big that we can start funding some of these projects ourselves. That's been really helpful too. So it's interesting to see that, and it's interesting to see how country by country and region by region, there are different people who are more excited about it. Like the philanthropic thing is not as big in like England, for example, as it is in India or the United States. So it's really interesting to learn that too, talk about being curious.
You might have to do a little trip to India. They're very excited about all the stuff they're doing over there for sure.
And they're very mindful about paying it forward. They're very concerned about future generations, which I wish more cultures were. Because it really helps. It really helps. I mean, the Native Americans here in the U.S. ran out of the country, sadly. Well, to put it nicely, they were always thinking about every decision. How does that affect 7 generations from now?
Yeah.
And that's really key. And I love that idea, and I love that philosophy. So again, that's why we're focused on these scientific missions, because we know it's going to help people on Earth.
Yeah. It's what we're leaving behind, our legacy, right? It's like caring about the legacy, making it better for people in the future, rather than just seeing what you can get out of it right now, personally, rather than what the world can get out of it. I didn't realize I was into social impact until later in my life, shall I say, and especially after the last 5 years. And I'm looking around and I'm suddenly going, hold on, what's going on in this world? Yeah, it's not right. And I'm like, hold on. So I can't control that, but I can control what I give, and what I do to help others, the future generation, which is actually why I enjoy university too, because I don't have kids. So I actually enjoy teaching the 20-year-olds because, they're not my kids, but they're kind of still young enough to feel like some level of impact with some of them, at least not all of them. I just want to say as well, Michael's saying Tang 1970s. Yes, that's definitely a 1970s. Anyone who's 1970s will get that one. And he also says interesting cultural take on philanthropy. Yeah, cultures are different.
Yeah, it's been an interesting learning for me, but it's exciting. I love it. I mean, we just need to figure out a way to get these missions funded. So I need to understand who I'm talking to.
Yeah, and I think you make such a good point about building relationships, because people are, I assume most of them, even if they don't want to support it financially, they're curious about this topic. Yeah, it's an exciting topic. It's something where you go, wow, I'm interested in that. For most people would like to hear something at least about it, maybe not all the technical part, but at least some parts of it, right?
Yeah, it's so funny. I've been going the first year of that we launched in 2024. I went to all these space conferences, told everybody who we were. Now I'm focused on the funding side of things, I'm going to all these non-space conferences, like brand marketing conferences and family office conferences and things that don't have anything to do with space. And inevitably, when people introduce themselves, they're like, yeah, yep, nice to meet you. So you do space. Tell me more about this. And everybody comes and talks to me. And so it's kind of, I mean, I feel bad for everybody else, but it's like, I love talking about it and I get a ton of questions and I know everyone's interested in it. So it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a great social object. It's a total social object. Yeah, it's something, even if you don't know nothing, it's a great way to get to know people, and you're a little bit uncomfortable, but then you go, oh, let's talk about that. We can all talk about that. It's not confrontational, it's not uncomfortable, and it's a really nice way to talk about something we can all get somewhat excited about, right?
Yep. It's a lot of fun.
So with that case, the selling comes later. First, you have to get them interested, right?
Exactly. And I almost hate to say it's selling. I'm really just educating people. This is what we're doing. And we would love it if you would help us. If not, do you know of anybody? And I get so many referrals from people. So that's the way we like to approach it, because we're all in this together.
And I think people do want to, if they could have some kind of, because sometimes I think when I look at the world, go, well, it's so overwhelming. What can I personally do? And you can go, well, I can do nothing. So you just go back to your bad habits sometimes, yeah? Or you can go, well, hold on, where can I get involved, or what can I do? And I think, when you talk about something and you're giving them an opportunity to have some kind of involvement at their level that they can afford potentially, then you're actually giving them some hope for the future and some sense of, I am doing something good somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And I think most people like to do good. Yeah.
But the education is tough in the space sector, because immediately when you say you're in the space sector, they immediately say, oh, Bezos and Musk. And it's like, well, yes, they are in it, but there are tons of other people, small private companies, big public companies. There's a ton of ways you can get involved, and it's not just two people.
Yeah. Let's make some, and you open it up so it's not a duopoly, so it becomes for everyone, right?
Yes.
Anyway, I could talk to you forever, but we are at 10:28 in Sydney, so we're 2 minutes away. So we'll finish up here, but it was great to have you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I'm glad we finally made it happen. How can people, obviously, I've got your LinkedIn, if people want to reach out to you on LinkedIn. Is there anything else you want to share, any events that's coming up in America, or anyone who might be listening in that's relevant that you want to share? And you can also put it in the comments afterwards, any links.
Sure, yeah. I mean, check out our website, spacebridgepartners.com. That's the name of the company, Spacebridge Partners.
Maybe you can put it in there, put it in the comments afterwards as well, if you don't mind.
Sure. And then I'll be speaking at an event in Las Vegas in July called Ascend. It's the Ascend conference. So I would love it if you guys would come and support me. I think I'm speaking on the July 22nd in Las Vegas. So there's that. And then more to come. We're organizing some events in London and San Francisco and Los Angeles and New York. So keep your eyes peeled on our site and our LinkedIn.
Sydney,
hopefully I'll see you in Sydney in October. That's where IAC conference is in October.
Yes, I thought you were going to say Sydney. I'm like, is it not coming? So hope you'll see you in October here.
Thank you for reminding me.
Well, thank you, Michael, for being here. It says thank you to both of us. Thank you for being here and sharing and being active. We appreciate it. Thank you for everyone who was here. Randy, Royce, Cooley, Michael, Umas, I think, was there. Who else was there? Badmus. Usman and Badmus. I was mixing them up. Sorry, guys. I apologize for that. Great crowd today. Great way to be back here. Appreciate you. Love Snappy Chat. I'll be back next Tuesday with another fantastic guest. Are you there? Yeah, I thought you were
yes,
a little
I'm here.
cut out there.
I can hear you. Yeah, my internet's wonky. Thank you for having me again. Really appreciate it. Good to see everybody.
See you all. Bye. Thank you.